Welcome to the Best Known Church Show. My name is Justin, and if we haven't met before, I take full responsibility for that. And if things look a little bit different, you're watching on YouTube. First of all, I hope you can see me. Let me check my audio settings here. Yeah, you can see me, you can hear me. We're switching up some software here, but you don't care about that. What you care about is not blowing $4,500 of valuable church budget only to see the same results. Anything we invest in for our churches needs to be, number one, a wise investment. Number two, aligned with the vision. And number three, yeah, let's put some good stewardship into it. And part of that is making sure that if we invest in something, yes, it represents our church. Yes, it moves our mission forward, but also it should give us better results than what we've had before. And when we're talking about websites, specifically, what a lot of pastors tell me is people don't come to our church because they see our website and they don't like what they see. So they think it's a design issue. I'm going to back it up even further. And I'm going to ask you the same question I ask all these other pastors. Are people actually seeing your website? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we don't have an intro today because I didn't realize how we got it loaded in the software. That's my fault. But I'm going to show you this real quick because I want you to see, where did you say, Justin, where do you get the $4,500 number from? Let me show you where I'm getting it from here. Look, I just use Perplexity. It's like AI, but Google, but AI. And it basically gives you answers really, really quick. So it does all the research and then it just spits it out. So how much does the average professionally designed church website cost? Okay, professionally designed, meaning you, pastor, you sit down, you try to touch the website. That's not a professionally designed website. Having your volunteer design the website is not a professionally designed website. Churches and pastors that come to us, they're looking for something that is outsourced, that is done well, done quick, done right. And so, yeah, I mean, this is about what we see, and this is about what we charge, between $2,000 and $10,000, depending on what kind of website you're doing. If you're doing basic, just some pages and text, yeah, you're looking at $2,500 to $5,000, professionally designed, put together, and then you've got hosting on top of that. If you're going to do some more advanced stuff, you're going to be looking at $5,000 to $10,000 plus. All right. Now, why do I bring all this up? I bring all this up because if you're going to invest this kind of money, you need to make sure it gives you a result that is different than what you had before. And what a lot of pastors think is they have a design problem, but they actually have a visibility problem, because it doesn't matter how great your website is. It doesn't matter how professionally designed it is, how great the copywriting is, how fast it loads. If people cannot find your website, then you're not going to get any more people coming to your church because they can't find your website. They can't judge your church if they don't see your church. Do you hear what I'm saying here? They cannot look and see themselves in your church if they cannot find your church on Google. See, and the number two thing is that the pastors don't really understand what brings people to their church website. A lot of pastors think that people drive past and if you're one of these pastors, I'm about to blow your mind here. A lot of people think that they pass our church, they know we're here. We did the road surveys. I hear this all the time. We did the road surveys and 40,000 cars pass our building every day. You know how many actually recognize that you're there? Probably 4. All right. I think we've all had this. If you're the driver of the family, like I am, the one time you get to ride passenger for whatever reason, and you drive down the same road you've driven down thousands of times before, just the fact that you're not driving, you're looking out the window and you say, oh, wow, look, there's all these businesses. I didn't know there was a motorcycle shop here. Oh, look at that. There's a coffee shop here. You see all these businesses you never saw when you were driving. And the same thing is true. People that are the 40,000 cars that are driving past your church every day, they don't know you're there. So if these people want to go to a church, they're not going to say, oh, there's that church I drive by all the time. Probably not going to happen. All right. Number two thing is people think, well, let me look for churches in my area, and they type in church near me and they assume that their church shows up. Here's the problem. Your church doesn't always show up. The top 3 recommended churches by Google shows up. And I don't like saying this, and I don't like that this is the reality that we're in, and this is why we no longer do websites without the strategy that I'm just going to share with you the strategy that we use. But what brings people to a church website is Google. All right. Your website is no longer the front door. It's Google. Because if I cannot find your church on Google, your church does not exist to me. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go raw here. I'm gonna do something I didn't plan. So hopefully it doesn't bite me in the booty here. I'm gonna go to Google and I'm gonna search church near me. And I get some bunch of ad stuff. Let me skip all this so I can get to what you would see. Here we go. So if I was to go into Google, here's what I would see. Oh, I gotta reshare my screen here with the correct screen. There we go. All right, cool. Learning new software on the fly. All right, so when you search church near me, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see places. You're going to see people also ask, and then you're going to see the actual Google results. Okay. Now, what's interesting to me is the biggest church in Springett doesn't even show up here. Okay. The church that I actually know about doesn't show up here. But it's probably going to do something more local around you. And it's going to show the nearest places, but it's also going to show the nearest places that are recommended. Because I can tell you, looking at this map, there are four churches that are closer than these recommended churches. But Google doesn't trust them so much. Google also knows a lot about me. It knows I'm Baptist, and it knows that I've probably been to Spring Church First Baptist. So maybe I'm looking for something else. So it's not going to show me that. Google knows so much about you. They're going to tailor your experience that finely. But they're going to see the top places. Now, over 50%, I want to say it's like 51%, might be 57%. Over 50%, I'm just going to say that, of people are going to stop right here. Meaning, if you're all proud that you're on page 1 of Google, you're still missing half of the people looking for a church in your area. Okay. So if you're going to rely on people to find your church on Google, they're not going to have the people, which if you're in a town, last time I did the research, if you're in a town about 70,000, which is the average American small to mid-sized town, there's going to be close to 1,000 people searching for churches every month in your town. Okay. So obviously in Houston, it's much more. Obviously in small towns, it's much less. It kind of scales exponentially. So if you're in a small town of like 15,000, it really scales down to where like 15 or 20 searches a month, because it's a smaller town. People just know you're kind of around, and it scales exponentially because you're in such a big town. We live in our little bubbles. There's going to be a lot more searches. That's just the numbers that I see. So they're going to stop right here. So if you're just relying on people to find your website, if you're not in this top 3 spot, you're missing half of the people. So if there's 1,000 people searching in your area, 500 of them are never going to see you. All right. Not only that, I believe 47% of that, I'm a little hairy on the statistic breakdown, but about another half of those people are going to just look at number 1. Okay. And they're probably going to pick number 1. So what you need to do is learn to play Google's game to get in that top 3 spot, and then play the game to get into that number 1 spot. Now, when I say play the game, you're not what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to manipulate, trying to be unethical, trying to hack. No, you just got to do some basic best practices. I'm going to share with you the same best practices we have today to help take our clients from totally irrelevant, never seen, undiscoverable, invisible, to being in the top 3 spot, to being in the top spot, where they know that anywhere in town, if someone searches Baptist Church near me, that church shows up. So I'm going to share that with you here today. And the last mistake that I see churches making today is not understanding how people actually plan a visit. Because again, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to go back to my screen here. Here's how most people will plan a visit. They'll search for a church near me. They'll see a church near them. Let's say Resurrection Church. And guess what? There's a button here that says website. Many people are not going to click that. They're going to click this. They're going to see where it is around town. And they're going to see some pictures here. Ooh, they got a lot of photos. That looks good. They're open right now, so I can call them. It's on Meadow Edge. I know where that is. There's some questions asked. Oh, they have sunrise service. That's cool. So this looks like a pretty cool little church here. If I go... well, I don't see, can you even see everything that I'm seeing? Yeah, you can. I don't see service times on here, so maybe I'll go to the website. But if you're doing your job, you have your service times here, and people can actually say, okay, well, I'm going to go to this church here on Sunday. Okay. Oh, and they'll also look at the reviews. I don't look at the reviews, but I know a lot of people will. I just planned my Sunday visit. I feel God's calling to get back into church. I just had a new kid. I want to get them in church. I'm going through some hard relationships issues with my wife, so I'm going to try to get us to go back to church to kind of repair our marriage. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Google for churches. I'm going to find one, and I don't even have to visit the website anymore to plan a visit. So if you're watching what I just shared, which by the way, if you're listening on audio, I apologize. I didn't really narrate too well what I was doing, but hopefully you got the essentials of it. We don't need a website anymore to plan a visit. In fact, someone even messaged me like, "Hey, is this something that y'all are actually?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's something we're actually saying. I'm talking about it right now. It just happens to be happenstance that's the topic of today's show." So why is it a $4,500 mistake or a $4,500 mistake if you just go get a new website? Because if you go get a website without a strategy, it's like going to buy new shoes to run a marathon, but you're not actually practicing running. Okay. And if you had asked me before, like, hey, run a marathon, I would have the Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother, like, it's just running, just run and then don't stop. But no, it takes a lot more. It takes a lot more conditioning. Same thing when I bringing my daughter through playing soccer. She's like, I get so tired on the field. And I said, that's because you've got to condition your body. You've got to run throughout the week. You can't just run during practice in the game. You have to run throughout the week to condition your body to be able to run longer and faster and harder and switch momentum on the field. And it's not something you can just practice the day before. It takes a long time. The same thing with what I'm going to share with you today. You can't just build a new website and expect a bunch of people to be flooding your church. All right. If you don't have the strategy, the long term and some of the short term, I'm going to share with you some tricks. I think I'll get to it in today's show. Some tricks. But if you don't have a long term practice to condition Google to recommend your church when people are searching for churches, then you're going to be left behind. And again, one of the reasons we do this is that there are a lot of good churches out there. Most of them, I shouldn't say most of them, but most of my listeners are with those good churches. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you outrank the wolves in sheep's clothing, the false teachers in your area, because they're causing a lot of community suffering and, of course, a lot of harm, and they're driving people away from what they should be doing. So let's go into some of what we do, and so you can use our strategy. Number one, I want to make sure that you're aware of what's called local search engine optimization. Okay. Search engine optimization is let's break it down. Search engine, that's Google. Okay. And then optimization is optimizing your website to show up on that search engine. So you might hear it called SEO. SEO, search engine optimization, is basically optimizing your web presence to be something that Google likes, therefore Google will recommend. And then local SEO is on a local level. So if someone's searching for a church in Houston and you're in California, you don't want your church website showing up for theirs because I can't drive to you. I'm not going to, sorry. So local SEO is specifically the practice of getting in that top 3 places spot, as well as the top recommendations on the first page of Google. Okay. So you have to understand that this is part of the game. And again, if you just drop $4,500 on a website without a plan for local SEO, you're essentially putting new carpet in your sanctuary. And it's great. It's an update. It looks good. It makes your members feel good, but it's not doing anything new to bring people to your church. It just looks good for the people that are already there. Man, I wish I led with that illustration. So remember well, let me just show you again here. So this whole side thing here, where it says Resurrection Lutheran Church, shout out, and they got their pictures, they got their address, their hours, all that stuff on the side. That is the Google Business Profile. And when you go to the maps and you see all of these, hopefully I don't dox myself here. All right, good. You see all of these maps here. You might see this when you search for a restaurant or something like that, and you click on it and it brings this pop up here and you see pictures and you see reviews. This is called the Google Business Profile. This is something that you can claim just by going to google.com/business. And even though you've never done anything with it or anything to change it, you have a Google Business Profile. Google has their little robots crawling the internet to find websites that list open hours, addresses, locations. They'll even scrape pictures and social media, and they build these little Google Business Profiles and then they put it into their system. It's all done automatically, which is why if you haven't done anything, your church still has a profile. The only problem is you're relying on Google's good graces to get that information correct. Even after you claim it and get access to it, Google can still incorrectly scrape your website and then update the information automatically if you're not hands-on. We had a client that, we had a client that moved away to another agency that took over their stuff, and they weren't touching the profile as often as we would. And what happened was is Google actually scraped their website, didn't see any office hours because that got removed somehow, and then went back to the Google business profile and said, oh, we're closed all week. They totally removed the office hours. And it was because, I think, because they weren't touching the profile enough. So Google was like, well, this needs an update. It hasn't been touched recently. And it went to the website, didn't see any business hours, so it updated the Google business profile. So anyone looking for for this kind of company around them, Google wasn't going to show their business because they were closed. And so, there's a lot of things that you have to kind of know, but the Google business profile, step one is claiming it. Okay. And I'm just going to show you real quick here because I have the way. As I go to Spring First Church, they are claiming, let's see, Holy Comforter Episcopal. It's probably not going to show up here, but probably some plugin I have. There is usually a button here or something that'll say own this business. And from there, you can click on it and you can claim it. And the way that process works is usually they'll just send you a postcard. So that way they know you have access to the mail at that address. Put in the code on the link they give you, and then you have access to that profile. And now you can do things like updating the pictures, meaning you want to put pictures of happy worshiping people, happy fellowship people. Don't put a picture of an empty building. No one wants to go into an empty building, okay? This isn't a restaurant where I'm trying to see the ambiance, okay? No one goes to church because of your building. They go to church because of your fellowship, your community, your gospel presentation, okay? So you want to make sure that the address is correct, the office hours are correct, also include your service time hours and the description. The description needs to be very simple, but also very focused on what someone can expect when you meet, what's for the kids, and learn more on our website or something like that. There's also a lot of other, I'm rapid firing here because there's a lot to get through. There's also FAQs where you can ask a question and then answer it. Okay, ideally someone asks a question and then you answer it. For example, we had one client last week I saw come through, said someone posted a question on their Google business profile. Do you marry non-members in the building? Like, can non-members reserve your building to get married in? And great, love it. Let's answer that question. You can also get messaging through Google business profiles. All you have to go to your website to get your email. I can just click a button if you have it enabled, which it's disabled by default, and they can send you a message right there inside of Google search. That's the way that modern day people use and plan their visit and find a church. So if you're not doing any of this, you are being left behind. So step one, claim your Google business profile. Step two, optimize that profile. There's a lot that you can do. If I go to our SOP, how many are we up to? How many things are we up to? Can I pull it up real quick? Template framework, be found. Let's see, onboarding. Okay, I'm not going to count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 16, 22, 27, 31. 31. There's 31 tasks that need to be done just on the Google business profile. Okay. So there's quite a few things you can do. I'm not going to go through all 31 of those, but if you just follow Google's prompts when you claim your business, it'll say, great, now let's put a logo up. Let's put some pictures up. Show us some pictures of your staff. Let's see, what else? Turn on messaging. Add some frequently asked questions. Create a post. Update your description. All of those things it'll kind of walk you through. So, you got to kind of play the 80-20 rule. All right. So do 20% of the work that it's right there. You'll get 80% of the results. All right. So that's the Google business profile. Okay. And not only that, plan your guest journey. Okay. So once you start getting found online, you need to know what you want people to do. Okay. This is no longer a world of, hey, here we are. Look at how awesome we are. Plan a visit and just come whenever you can. No, you need to be like a host or hostess at a restaurant and guide people to where they need to go. All right. Believe it or not, people want to be told what to do. We don't want to have to figure it out for ourselves. And we've done tests. This was back when I didn't keep real good logs of what we were testing. But when we just say, here's everything we do, pick a path. Not many people pick a path because they don't know what they need. They don't know what they want. They know what's hurting them, but they don't know exactly how the church or what the Moms Fellowship can do for them. Okay. Or even Sunday service. But if you can guide people, whether they send a message through your Google business profile, whether they see your Google business profile and never go to your website, or whether they do go to your website, or they find you on social media first, you need to have a journey that you want people to take to get to the ultimate result. Okay. To illustrate that, let me pull out Bordy. Bordy here. All right, good. I don't know if I hope my video is good. It's getting kind of choppy. There we go. Okay, so what is the ultimate number one thing you want people to do? Well, we want them to come on Sunday. Okay, perfect. So all roads need to lead to Sunday. How do you make sure people come on Sunday? The answer is not, well, let them know when it is and where it is. No. I know where lots of things are and I know when they're open. That doesn't mean I'm going to go eat Popeyes for lunch because I know where it is and when it's open. And I may even have a coupon and I'm going to go to Popeyes for lunch. How do you get people to come on Sunday? You need to get them to make a commitment. The commitment lets you get them there on Sunday. How do you get them to make a commitment? A lot of places call it plan a visit. Okay. We like to do online guest gifts, OGGs. This is where someone can request a piece of resource, devotional, prayer guide, even a prayer requests. So you get their contact info and you can nurture them into making that commitment. All right. But you got to get them to make a commitment. How do you get them to make a commitment? You have to guide them to make that decision. Okay. It's kind of like the altar call. No one's going to walk in your church and say, hey, I'm lost, but I'm looking to be found. Can you tell me what I need to do next to get saved? That's not happening. Okay. But they will come in hurting. They will come in with needs. And you use that avenue as a ministry, as an outreach, as a resource to them, introduce them to Jesus, to give them the opportunity to make that commitment. So how do you drive them to that commitment? That's usually where your website comes in. And it usually starts on your homepage. Okay. So when they come to your website and you're asking them, instead of saying plan a visit, you're kind of just jumping from the website to commitment. Okay. No good. You do not want to go from your website to commitment. You know what that's like? Proposing on the first date. All right. If someone is searching for a church near me, they're probably going to go to church. They're not sure it's your church. Just like if someone's not wearing a wedding ring, which I'm not because it's too big. It keeps falling off. In fact, it's somewhere in this office. It fell off and I could never find it. So if someone's wearing a wedding ring, it means that they're committed, right? But if they're not, you can't say, hey, let's go out to Starbucks and then propose, hey, do you want to get with me for the rest of your life? No, it's not what we do. Okay. So your website is how we introduce and nurture people into trusting you enough to make that commitment. Okay. That comes from things like the copy. That comes from things like the OGG. And usually with that, you guide them throughout the website to make that commitment. Okay. If you just put a big old plan a visit button and you got a nice form and all that stuff, they're probably not going to click it on the homepage. And if they do click it on the homepage, they're going to back out of it because they're not ready to make a commitment. They don't trust you. That's where the journey comes in. Okay. I hope this makes a lot of sense. I don't want to overwhelm you, but usually in between here, you've got a new here page. They'll click on the kids page. They might click on your belief page if they're already Christian. And then they might go back to the new page. That's what we see. Okay. And then they commit. You see how it's a journey? It's not, hey, friendo, hey, coworker, my first day here. Have you met Jesus? Can I introduce you to him? Sounds like I'm about to kill you. I'm not saying that. And now I'm demonetized on YouTube. That's not what we want. Okay. We want to say, hey, friend, let me take you out to lunch. Okay. Hey, friend, let me get tacos for the office. You want to be the most liked person in the office, just bring tacos. And then learn about them. And then learn about how they think and function. Okay. And I'm not saying take 2 years to share the gospel with someone. You can do this in an afternoon, but you're not just going to walk up to them and say, hey, my name is Justin. Have you met Jesus? Do you want to? Again, sounds creepy. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we guide them on that guest journey, which again is where we get to the big theme of today. You don't want to waste an average of $4,500 getting a new website if you have no idea how to bring people to it. They are searching. You need to get them to your website. They're going to go through your Google business profile. They're going to go through your social media, and they might see an ad that you run, okay? Which, unless you're using a lead ad, they're probably going to look at your website. So the ad can shortcut that. We're going to talk about that later this year. You're not ready for that. You got to get this first. And by the way, these people are already primed and ready to go to your website. I'm sorry, to go to your church, because they're searching for a church. Okay. But you need to nurture them to, again, make that commitment and then actually show up on Sunday. And how do you get them to show up on Sunday? You nurture them. Send them a text. Hey, saw you're interested in coming on Sunday. Here's where I'm going to be before church. I'd love to meet you. Signed, pastor. Here's some of the stories of what God's done in our church. All right. So that's what's called a guest journey. Okay. And in order to get more people to your website, you have to have a plan. And right now we're just talking about Google Business Profile because it's free. If you can get more people to see your Google Business Profile, if you get more people to see your church on Google, you will get more people to your website. If you get more people to your website, you'll get more people reading your copy. You'll get more people downloading your online guest gift. You'll get more people looking at the new page, looking at your kids' page. You'll get more people making that commitment. Yeah, let's go. We'll be there on Sunday. And then you get more people coming on Sunday. And if you don't have this whole plan, and you say, oh, we just need a new website, guess what you're left with? You're left with a new pretty website and all these people, they're going elsewhere because you have no plan. There you go. Now you can see it. You have no plan to get these people there. So it doesn't even matter if you spend $10,000. No amount of money and no beautiful designed website is going to get these people here, because Google, believe it or not, does not care about your design. Don't believe me? Keep in mind how many terrible designed websites you see popping up on the front page that you click on and aren't very helpful at all. But they got this down so they get more traffic to their website. You need this piece answered right here. Okay? So to recap, you need to look up something called local SEO. We do this too. We've got a course on it, which, by the way, we're going to put together a group coaching program to re-record all of our coursework because so much has changed already. So we're going to focus more on the strategy. But you need to do local SEO. That's step 5. It's what we call Be Found. You need to get your Google business profile, and then you need to clarify your guest journey. You do these 3 things, you're going to at least double the number of guests coming to your church in 90 days. Because we've done it before. We've even done it on accident. We've done it in less than 90 days. We planned for it to take about 6 months, and we've seen it just like, because no other church in this town was doing this stuff. They shot up to I think it was number 2 in like 30 days. And of course, now they're number 1. So I don't say this as like, this is the only thing you need to do. If you have a poorly designed website, you don't want to just start shooting people to it. All right. I had a call last week where someone was like, well, does it matter how bad the website is? I mean, if we just bring more people to it, naturally more people will plan a visit because you got a certain conversion rate, and you're right. But if I'm going to send 1,000 people to my website, I want 100 of them to convert, to make that commitment. I don't want just one that's just a happenstance, right? Praise God for all the people that join our church, accept Christ, follow him on accident, in spite of what we've done. We want to be intentional. That's why you're watching this show. All right. So to pull it all in context, there has to be multiple pieces of the puzzle that get put together. You've got to have great copy on your website. You've got to have a good design. Great design, sure. You've got to have a nurture sequence, a nurture process to get people from that commitment to actually showing up on Sunday. Because you know as well as I do, just because someone says, oh yeah, sure, I'll check it out on Sunday, that don't mean they're coming on Sunday. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. They might see that ad for the monster truck and go, oh, that's so cool. I can't wait to take my son. We're going to do that instead. Make sense? So here's what I want you to do. Besides tapping that like button below and subscribing wherever you are, I want you to go, this is kind of hard unless you just buy the software that we have. Remember when I said that Google knows everything about you? So if you're at home and you search church near me, and Google knows that you're at your church 5-6 days out of the week, then when you're searching for a church near me, it's probably like, oh, he's just looking for his church. Let's put his church first, or her church first. So you can't trust your own Google results. It knows you too well. What you need to do is go to a stranger's phone, preferably someone that's never been to your church, that's still in the area, that's never been to your church. Because again, if they went to your church one time, then it'll probably like, oh, they're probably looking for that church they've been to one time, because I'm Google, I know everything. All right. And the reason it probably I would guess the reason it didn't show it to me is because we go so sporadically to Spring Baptist. Maybe it just knows that, hey, this guy's always looking for something new. I don't know. But Spring Baptist as well as has the SEO of authority, so it should be ranking for everyone else in the world. Or there's software you can use to do it third party. But go to a friend's device, preferably someone that's never been to your church, and have them Google church near me. Don't do it in your parking lot because your church is the closest. Your church will come up first. You want to do it somewhere around town, and see where you fall. And then do it a few times. And you'll be surprised at how few people actually see your church. Despite thousands of searches a month, you're not being seen. And so if you're going to design a new website, yourself, volunteer, or you're going to outsource it to a freelancer or an agency like ours, you need to have a strategy in place to get people to your new website. All right. If we're going to decorate our home, we're going to like to live in it, but we're also going to have people coming over. So we want to have it being welcoming to people. We want people to be able to find it. It's kind of like putting the balloons out for the birthday party. And if we're going to invite people, we want our house to be easy to find. We're going to make sure that people are RSVP'd. We're going to make sure that people can show up so we have enough for everyone, right? That's what you need to do when you design a new website. I hope I didn't lose the plot here. If you're going to drop $4,500 on average on a new website, you need to have a strategy to go along with it to bring more people to your website. Thank you for watching today. I appreciate you all. God bless you all. Hopefully we'll have an interview next week, and hopefully we'll be a little bit cleaner. I wanted to try this StreamYard. I think it's going to give me a little bit more freedom to do a couple things that I just wasn't happy. I love the software I was using before, but it was just missing a few features that I'm like, this could take it up to the next level, especially when we start having live guests. So God bless you all, and I will see you all next week.